Hello everybody, it's a big week for Pixar as we have Toy Story 5 just around the corner. We're starting to see reactions trickle out for some of the first screenings and I'm really excited to see it for myself. But in typical fashion for film studios, it's time to promote the next release ahead of the current one, and with that we have our first look at next year's Gatto to look at. Gatto was announced last year. This film takes us back to Italy with Enrico Casarosa's sophomore directorial duty following Luca, focusing on a cat named Nero, who we know to be voiced by Mark Ruffalo as of a few weeks ago. This teaser is very much that, a teaser, which may disappoint some, but this film is still a ways out. We have 9 more months, so I think it's smart to save story trailers for a later date, as Pixar at times has been showing off a lot more, a lot earlier than usual. This kind of plays like a teaser for a sequel more than anything, as a good amount of this is just the logo. But the fact that we're getting this so early at all goes to show that Disney and Pixar are confident in this release at the very least. I mean, it got a trailer before Disney Animation's Hexed, which comes out this year. What we do get in this trailer, which will be the primary draw to many, is the art style on full display. Being if these scenes are not in the movie, we can still see this world in action and these characters within the style, which has been talked up a whole lot, and as of recently, the concept art that we've been talking about for a year was said to be exactly what the film looked like throughout the entirety of the film. And that statement I didn't really believe all too much, though I could tell something was being done with this art style in some way from what was shown off in some of the reactions to that. But I will say, watching this teaser at first, my immediate thought was this is very in line with some recent films like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Wild Robot, maybe even this year's Goat, just in the way that the background textures and the environment are handled. And while I think the stylization here is closest to Puss in Boots, the little we see from the outside world is quite different from other Pixar films, obviously, but also animated films in this stylized trend. As at least from what I can see, these characters don't have any sort of atypical frame rate when a choppier character animation typically accompanies these styles. Seeing the clouds in the background, it does very much look like the playtime scene in the Toy Story 5 trailer. In the background, buildings do look a lot more stylized than the foreground, which I'm super excited to see more of. I really want to see how they show off Venice in the day and those brush strokes in the waters like the lagoons more. Rather than showing off Venice though, we get an interrogation scene with Nero and his mob boss Rocco, who he supposedly will double cross in this film. Likely being the villain, though who knows if this will be in the more traditional good versus evil sense. We get to see more of his larger stature. He's much bigger than every other cat, and we now know for him to be voiced by Lawrence Fishburne as well. And I do think that he and Ruffalo sound really good in this teaser. The interrogation scene features the two and some other unnamed cat, and it results in a distracted cat type joke, which is a media trope we've come to expect. We do get to see more of the foreground texturing, this time with the lighting, with the light bulb here, but again the characters move as fluent as ever, not too unexpected for a Pixar film. And this whole interrogation scene plays like a teaser made clip, not something from the movie itself, though I could be wrong here. The ending is a little logo sequence, some more of Nero interacting with it, and that's all for now. Annecy is a couple weeks away, and we're set to get a lot of coverage for this film there, and we also have D23 this year in just a couple months, which will surely showcase plenty of this film. In the description we got a little more plot info. It's not too different from some of the other synopses we've received prior. It states that Nero begins to question whether he's lived the right lives, which is another big media trope for felines. Pixar has delved into cats a lot, specifically in this decade, though not at the central role like this, so they now have plenty of new areas to play around with here. This synopsis also reiterates his unexpected friendship, which we know previously to be a human girl named Maya, who we will likely see featured a lot more in the next trailer. Before I saw this trailer, I did see the poster, and I think this is pretty perfect. I think this encompasses the art style the most, and I'm really excited to see more of this in action. I am Italian, so I love that we're seeing another side of Italy from Pixar. I'm just really looking forward to this film a whole lot. I'm hoping this movie does well. I think moving it out of June was the right call given the competition, though it is a shame because the scenery and the atmosphere is perfect for the summer. But I digress. Hopefully it can bring in the spring break crowds, and I really can't complain that I'm getting a Pixar movie sooner than later. I have seen the comparisons people are giving to Ratatouille, and I have to agree. Obviously different cities, different countries even, but to see a big city presented from the perspective of one of the animals that inhabit it, we get to see the rooftops and narrow alleyways. Obviously Hopper's had a lot of animal characters, but this is our first animal protagonist since Finding Dory, and it'll be interesting to see how this performs relative to the newer human stories from the studio. But I do think just seeing something big from the perspective of something small, like that's something we've come to expect from early Pixar with obviously Toy Story and A Bug's Life. So a lot of people are expecting them to be a little bit more back to their roots with this one, obviously expanding more in the art direction though. I will say I was hoping we get a lot more here since I am so excited for this release, but I'm not surprised they're holding back. I would like to put the question out to all of you though, what did you think of this teaser? Are you excited for Gatto? And what do you think about the cast so far and the animation style, the biggest talking point on the internet right now? That's all I got today everyone. It was a short video, but it was a short teaser. I got Toy Story 5 coverage in the coming week and I'm hoping to post some other videos soon. So if you like Pixar and want to see future videos from me, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.